Hi, my name is Francesca Viglia, and this is my e-me bag on why I became a teacher. It all started when my mom became a teacher at my elementary school. We would spend hours after school in her classroom because she wanted to make sure everything was perfectly ready for the next school day. The hard work paid off though, because everyone would always tell me how much they loved my mom as their teacher. I could really tell that she was helping her students enjoy school, which is all that you really want as a kid. When I was a teacher, I became a camp counselor. I had my own group of first graders, and I was in charge of making sure they got to each class on time and that they were all being the best good kids they could be. It was so much fun connecting with those students, and I loved coming back every summer. I then went to St. Francis High School, and there were so many amazing teachers there. One in particular was my math teacher. He could see that I struggled in math, but he spoke to me in a way that I just understood. I went on later to an immersion trip where I decided I was going to be a social worker. I told him about it because I was so excited. He was like, I could see you more as a math teacher though. You think about math differently and you could really bring something to students in your future. So I want you to think about becoming a math teacher and coming back to teach here with me. And I was so honored. It always kept it into my mind. I mean, he told me I should, right? So I went to Sonoma State, and that was the plan. I was going to be a teacher. But I moved away from home, and that was so interesting. It was the first time in my life that I was kind of free, and I learned so much. I learned what type of person I was, I learned how to deal with stress, and I learned how to manage my time properly. But in a last-minute decision, I decided to study psychology. I was very interested on how the brain worked. I wanted to learn how children developed, how families work together, and it was also very interesting to me. But I still knew that this probably wasn't the right step for me. Teaching was still in the back of my mind. However, my mom worked so hard when I was younger, I wasn't sure if I was ready to put that much time and effort into my job every single day. So I decided to take a break after college. I graduated and I moved down to the happiest place on earth in Anaheim, California, Disneyland. I became very involved in the company. I was in an internship, and it was such a fast-paced environment. I learned how to be very flexible. I became a trainer actually in my attraction, and I learned more about how one of my favorite companies operated. I got to have the opportunity to help open the red car trolleys at Disneyland California Adventure, and this is all such a great time. However, when my internship ended, I didn't have enough money to support myself without another job on top of Disney. So I began working at Starbucks. I learned a lot there too, how to speak to people and how to be very patient. But I couldn't help think about how this wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. So the days went on, and I decided one day to just call my friend and see how she was doing. I knew she wanted to become a teacher, and so I wanted to see how that path was going for her. So she told me she just received a teaching job, and she asked me if that was my plan still. I said if there was a teacher's aide position available, I'd take that to make sure that teaching was really what I wanted. She told me that there actually was an aide position available at the school that she was working at, and so right after we hung up, I called and applied. I was asked to come to an interview, and I was on the next flight out to San Jose. I was so excited for the interview. I was going through everything in my head before I even went. I realized that all my life I'd been preparing for a job just like this. So I became the first grade aide at Holy Spirit School. The teacher I worked for was amazing. She showed me the ropes. She would tell me all the time that I should be a teacher. She would have me lead the small groups. She would show me ways to grab students' attention. She showed me how to lesson plan, how to be fun yet stern. And for the last 3 months of that school year, she had me teach math. We found out that the third grade position was available for the next year, and she told the principal about everything that she was teaching me over the year. And they offered me the job. That's when I applied for the CAPMAT program at Santa Clara University. I'd always wanted to go to Santa Clara, and now I was going for my master's. This first year in the program was great, but I was also teaching for full time. I am so excited to complete my master's so that I can focus all of my time on my classroom. There are so many ways that you can always improve your classroom, and it's actually really nice having these classes to take at the same time, so I'm constantly learning new ways to make sure that I have the most efficient and the best education going out to my students. This first year was so stressful. I loved it, but there was so much to learn. Thank goodness my mom was around to show me the ropes. I also had a lot of support from my coworkers. The last day of school, I was ecstatic. I was so proud of myself and all that I had done in this year. I was proud of my students, and I had already began missing them. They were such an amazing group of children, and I seriously will never forget my first class. This year has taught me so much on what type of teacher to be, and I am just excited to start my second year, knowing my curriculum and knowing the school better. In the next 5 years, I want to incorporate more technology into my classroom. It is an amazing tool that we should be using in all of our classrooms. I am part of the Drexel School Initiative at Santa Clara Schools, so I am taking classes on how to have a blended classroom. I want to learn how to excel in this area so my students can learn from me and from the internet as well. How amazing is that we can have technology also be teaching as we are teaching a smaller group at the same time. In the next 10 years, I want to become a math teacher. I agree with what my high school teacher told me all those years ago. I do speak math differently, and I hope to focus my skills on this at some point of my life. Perhaps I will go back to my old high school and teach math there. And that's it for now. Thanks for listening.